The Great Flood was a memory, a terrible lesson in the power of the divine. But time has a way of dulling fear. Generations have passed since the ark settled, and the descendants of Noah have multiplied. As they migrate eastward, a vast human family, they discover a land of unparalleled flatness and fertility. The plain of Shinar, what we now call Babylonia. It is a place where the sun burns bright and the clay lies thick, perfect for industry. The most remarkable thing about them is their singular voice. They are one people, and they all speak one language. There is no need for interpreters, no nuanced misunderstandings, no cultural gaps carved by different histories. Their unity is absolute. And with perfect unity comes perfect efficiency and, crucially, limitless ambition. As they look across the endless plain, an idea takes root in their collective mind. Driven by a deep human need for permanence and glory, they are tired of being wanderers, subject to the whims of nature and, implicitly, the dictates of a distant god who had once swept the world clean. Their leaders, perhaps a strong-willed figure like Nimrod, described elsewhere as a mighty hunter and the first powerful ruler, gather the people and declare a monumental vision. This vision is captured in a powerful, defiant four-part declaration: "Come, let us build ourselves a city." They seek a centralized, glorious hub, the capital of the world, a place where all humankind will gather and settle, defying the earlier divine command to spread out and fill the earth, and a tower whose top is in the heavens. This is no ordinary watchtower. The structure is meant to be a literal or symbolic link between the earthly and the divine. Many scholars believe this design mirrored the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, massive stepped pyramids designed as temples, places where the gods could descend and humans could ascend for worship. Their tower, however, is not built for humble supplication but for access and control. Let us make a name for ourselves. This is the core sin, hubris. They seek fame, recognition, and self-glorification. Their achievements are to be monuments to human genius, built by their own hands, securing their legacy entirely independent of God's favor. They want to be the civilization remembered forever, lest we be scattered over the face of the whole earth. This is the practical objective and the final act of rebellion. They feared dispersion. They feared being diminished and separated. The tower would serve as an eternal marker, a beacon visible from every corner of the plain, ensuring that everyone could find their way back to the unified power center. It was a strategy to ensure their self-determination, a fortress against the unknown future, and perhaps a guard tower against any future global flood. The work begins with fierce dedication. They do not use simple fieldstones. They innovate. They declare, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." By firing their bricks in kilns, they create durable, man-made stone. Instead of natural mud, they use bitumen, tar, making an unparalleled, waterproof mortar. This is not primitive labor. It is a unified, cutting-edge engineering project, a marvel of post-flood civilization. The entire plain becomes a whirlwind of construction. Lines of laborers, perfectly coordinated by their shared tongue, move mountains of material. The walls of the city rise, and at its heart, the colossal terraced tower begins its ascent. Every day, the top edges closer to the clouds, a rising symbol of human pride, technological power, and a collective determination to chart their own course, no longer bound by the will or commands of the divine. This united effort, however, is viewed from a perspective they had not considered. God descends, metaphorically or literally, to see the vast undertaking, the city and the tower, that the sons of man were building. The text states, "And the Lord said, Behold, they are one people and they all have one language, and this is only the beginning of what they will do, and nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them." This is not a statement of fear, but of profound understanding. God recognizes the awesome, exponential power of human unity when coupled with pride and a disregard for moral boundaries. If humanity can achieve this much in collective rebellion while speaking one language, their capacity for organized evil is terrifyingly limitless. Their unified strength has become a threat to the moral order of the universe and, ultimately, a threat to their own long-term well-being. Their single-minded pursuit of self-glory is leading them down a path of self-destruction. God's intervention is swift, precise, and surgical. The goal is not to destroy the people as with the flood, but to disrupt their unity and redirect their purpose, forcing them to fulfill the original command to fill the earth. "Come, let us go down," and there confuse their language, so that they may not understand one another's speech. The moment this divine decree is executed, chaos erupts on the plain. Imagine the scene on the scaffolding of the rising tower. A foreman shouting in the common tongue for a rope, or whatever the word was, is suddenly heard by his workers as stone, or water, or meaningless gibberish. The man carrying the rope hears the order and responds with a puzzled look and an uncomprehending word that sounds alien to the foreman's ears. The perfect synchronization of the massive workforce instantly shatters. Chains of workers passing materials break down as instructions are misunderstood, leading to dropped loads, accidents, and sudden, panicked frustration. The shared tongue, the very source of their power and unity, becomes the very instrument of their undoing. The people begin to panic. They search for anyone whose speech still resembles their own. A small group in one section hears a familiar sound and instantly clutches together, looking with suspicion at the majority who now sound like buzzing insects. Other pockets form, huddled groups emerging from the confusion, realizing they have been separated by a barrier they cannot cross, the barrier of language. They can no longer cooperate. They can no longer plan. The great vision, the city, the tower, the name, the unified human project, is utterly finished. They cannot even negotiate the next step of construction. And so, the Lord does exactly what they had sought to prevent. He scatters them abroad from there over the face of all the earth. The people leave the unfinished city and its towering, silent monument. They go forth in their newly formed linguistic groups, becoming the seed of the distinct nations and cultures of the world. The unified race fractures into disparate tribes, fulfilling God's original command through the means of judgment. The city is forever named Babel, a name associated with the Hebrew word balal, meaning to confuse or to confound. The tower, the greatest monument of human pride, stands as a desolate, unfinished ruin, a stark, timeless warning about the limits of human ambition that seeks to rival or defy the divine. The greatest lesson of the story is the failure of a human-centric utopia built without humility and in defiance of God's will.